The views expressed on this show do not represent those of NTV or its staff.
I welcome you, honorable members, to this session of the NTV People's Parliament, a platform where Ugandans can freely speak on issues that affect them and issues of national importance. Agnes Nandutu, the Speaker of this Parliament, presides. We are in Chotera Rakai District. Madam Speaker, decentralization empowers the people to participate in their own governance through decision-making, identifying their own problems and setting priorities, and planning for their implementation and monitoring, as well as ensuring the better use of resources and value for money. To this effect, Article 176 of the 1995 Constitution and the Local Governments Act provide for the district to be the central unit of decentralization. I therefore beg to move the motion. Is decentralization really working, especially in reference to infrastructure development?
Those in favor, aye to the contrary, no? Aye. Ayes deserve it. I think you have heard the motion, honorable member. We are going to debate on whether decentralization has worked for Rakai district, maybe particularly in Chotera. Yes, you are welcome to NTV People's Parliament seated here in Rakai district, and I'm none other than Agnes Nandutu, presiding over this parliament. But before we get the ball rolling, I want to get an expert opinion from honorable member. Please take the podium.
Madam Honorable Speaker, I'm Bagarapia Alexander, District Community Development Officer, and I've been implementing centralization in this district for 22 years. 22 years? Yes. You are an expert indeed. And now I want to begin, Madam Speaker, with the objectives of decentralization. First of all, it was supposed to transfer real power to districts, thereby reducing the workload of the remote and under-resourced central government officials. Two, it was supposed to bring political and administrative control over services to the point that they can actually be delivered, thereby improving accountability and effectiveness and promoting people's ownership of programs and the projects executed in their districts. Three, centralization was supposed to free local managers from central government constraints and, as a long-term goal, allow them to develop organizational structures tailored to local circumstances. Four, centralization was supposed to improve financial accountability and responsibility by establishing a clear link between the payment of taxes and the provision of services they finance. Madam Speaker, finally, centralization was supposed to improve capacity of local councils to plan, finance, and manage the delivery of the services to their constituents. Has that been done, honorable member? Madam Speaker, that's what I'm coming to. Because if you do a very quick analysis to date, this is the situation in the local governments that makes me move this motion to say that decentralization is no more, but an extended arm of central government. One, Madam Speaker, local governments used to generate their local revenue, which formed 85% of their total revenue. To date, they have no local revenue to talk of. Their graduated tax was abandoned because it was said it was archaic, expensive to collect, and inhuman. But what has replaced it? Nothing. Local governments have become extremely poor because they only wait for the extended arm of central government to do what central government pleases them to do. Is that the true situation on the ground, honorable members? Yes. Go ahead. Madam Speaker, the only money the local governments would have in terms of financial liberty is the meager savings from the salary grant, which is very little which failed to move any infrastructural development to be reckoned with in the local governments. Madam Speaker, government talked of equalization grants to help local governments uplift areas that are weak in terms of development. This grant is nothing to talk about. Madam Speaker, the situation is not as relative as it looks. Local governments are going down the drain. Why? Local governments are no longer able to retain high capacity staff. Madam Speaker, the capacity building grant, we train people, officers, but after getting the qualifications and fulfilling the mandatory service period, we fail to retain them. So we have become grooming grounds for NGOs and international bodies and not the government of the Republic of Uganda.
Okay, Honorable Member, you have given us a very good background, and I will definitely give you another opportunity to add on that. But let's hear from somebody who is now at the helm of this local government. Can it be the district chairman? Can it? Yes, please.
Madam Speaker,
yes.
I thank you very much.
Welcome.
And two, I thank the expert for having used the word supposed. Indeed, local government, at the setting of decentralization, those were the intentions of decentralization. But as we talk now, indeed, in local governments, we are doing it poor.
So how are you operating?
We are operating in isolation. We are operating in seeking and begging.
Begging
Why?
From where?
Begging from the central government. Madam Speaker, I want to tell this House that recruiting one civil service in a local government, you need to apply 4 months before, 4 months earlier. Applying from the Minister of Public Service, liaise with the Minister of Finance, then they give you a clearance. That one takes 4 months. Can you imagine if you are recruiting a medical staff at any medical unit, what shall the rest of the patients be doing by that time? So, Madam Speaker, I want to concur with the expert that decentralization was supposed, and by its setting it was good, but implementation has completely failed. Secondly, Madam Speaker, these quarterly releases of funds. Local governments are given funds in bits, 4 equal installments. Even if you have any burning problem in local government, you cannot sort it out because the central government has not released any fund. You have to wait not until the 3 months elapses, like Rakai District Administration. We are receiving 95% of our total budget from the central government. Our budgeted local revenue is 5%. Now, even if a road is washed away by rains, we cannot replace it not until the central government releases money. We do our infrastructure by program under our budgetary system. So it is the same way that goes to the sub-counties and in our common access roads. So that's how we operate in our local government. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you have heard you for yourself, honorable members. Please, the ball is in your court to debate. Yes, my counterpart. And on this side.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In actual sense, I just want to put another brick on his statements. Bear this in mind that the indicative figures we get in terms of budgeting, we get them from the center. Whereby if they say, for instance of recent, the health budget was cut by 60%. We remained with only 40%. When it came to council, it was a hot debate. We felt sorry, but nothing we could do, sincerely speaking. Therefore, we are in a bondage, but what to do? But again, we have managed to move. So, decentralization, you can see the way, it's attractive it is. But in actual sense, on ground, it isn't there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to add my voice. Decentralization is no more. The central government is overtaking the
So decentralization is in the books.
Yes.
But not
I want to give you an example. The budget in 2001 for some of the smaller sub-counties like Kasasa and local development funds, they used to get the total budget, they used to get around between 35 and 40 millions. But now I'm giving you an example. Last year's budget, it's me who prepared it for Kagamba sub-county. We prepared a total budget of the development funds from the central government. It was 16 millions only. But when you see the population of Kagamba and kilometers we have, everything, because the development grants goes in all sectors. For example, health and what? So you find that under the decentralization system this way, the indicative figures which are brought to the districts decreases every year. Why is it so? Because some of the bigger projects, the central government looks on the bigger projects, eyes them, and funds them without even coming down to plan for the people. Under decentralization policy, they say, it has to be a bottom-up planning. You go to the village, you plan for the people. I'm giving you an example in Kagamba sub-county. There is a junk project which costed 13 billions. But now there is nothing, nobody can draw their water. But there are the 13 billions, if they were brought to the district, you find that the district would sit and start planning and see what is the problem underwater. The people of Kochi needs water at household, but they don't need water for irrigation because we receive enough rains. So you find that most of the revenue collected in Rakai, like in Mutukula, revenue authority takes all the what? All the money to the central government. And yet, under the decentralization policy, they say 65% has to remain to the district. And where 65% has to remain where the revenue is collected from. So if Raka is got some good sources of revenue, Kasensero, Mutukula, why is it that the government is eyeing to take the whole junk to the central government and yet it releases some small things?
Okay, thank you.
So I can see that the power should
I will give you another opportunity, Honorable Member. So what is the essence of decentralization then if it is not working?
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for this motion. We are looking at civil servants who are given roles to play in the district. We have had to reach areas, say in Nangoma, the islands of Rakai district, in Minziro, where people cannot reach easily. But a civil servant is paid the same amount of money. And this chance is not taken by the district to submit to the central government to consider hard to reach areas. Someone goes by the waters to reach the other side and he's paid in the bank in Chotera. So he has all that time to travel, and so we need to have a lot of consideration to central government and our decentralization and our issues be considered by central government.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. When you, Mr. RDC, come and take this podium, you know when you are in this district, you are looked at as government. 2 decades down the road, we are not realizing the results.
Yeah, you are very right. But I feel as a representative of the central government, the influence of any policy takes effect in the process of implementation. Because there is a policy has 3 stages. There's policy formulation, policy implementation, and policy evaluation. I feel it's at this stage that the think tanks, who are the technical persons, together with the government, should sit together and harmonize and make a process, a standard process that can make this decentralization effective, or if it does not hold water, it can actually be done away with.
Okay,
that's my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. RDC. I think I've heard the people of Rakai are speaking about decentralization. Is it benefiting the people? Decentralization was meant to bring services near to the people. Okay? Since you don't have money at the district, do you think graduated tax should be returned? Do you think there is need for more districts? Let's go for a short break. And when we come back, those are the benchmarks that we are going to discuss. Welcome back. You are still watching NTV People's Parliament, discussing decentralization and infrastructure development. Yes, ma'am. You have the podium.
I thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I'm called Agnes Namsitwa from Kakuto. Madam Speaker, allow me to inform this August House that the biggest animal which is killing this country is corruption. Because whoever is up there is thinking of
corruption within the district or from central government?
From wherever, all stages, at all levels. Because at the center, they just squeeze every single penny that is collected right from the village, from the border, from the town councils, and everything is being shifted to the center. And at the center there, those people in those big ministries, commissions, and parliament, they are busy increasing their salaries, their allowances, and all that, and leaving these local governments to suffer, forgetting that they get all those revenues from these grassroots sources. I think that's why we are having poor services, because all the services are almost centralized. Decentralization is there in books, yes, but in actual sense, it is no longer there. You find, why should they centralize the supply of drugs? Do those people in Kampala know the problems in Kakuto Health Center or the problems in Iraka Hospital and Kalisizo better than the DHO at the district or the chairperson of the district? I think those people should think twice and get back to the real concept of decentralization. Okay. Otherwise, this country is still crying, is still digging low, is still going low, and we are dying of poverty, we are dying of sickness, we are dying everything, even ignorance, just because things are
Yes, you have the podium, young man.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thanks to NTV. And thanks to this House. There is something local leaders haven't mentioned about decentralization and infrastructure. There is what they call a road construction unit, something like that the government is giving out those units to each district so that they can at least help in infrastructure. Over the news we get that, but the local leaders are not mentioning that. I don't know.
They have a road construction unit within the district?
Yes.
Who is heading that unit within the district? Can you give us information, please?
Honorable Speaker, I want to inform this House that the unit which is being talked about is only a grader. Yet, when we are talking of a unit, it's a complete unit where we have a grader, a dozer, a wheel loader, and all other equipment that do construct roads. But in this instance, the government only sent us one grader.
And how much money are you given?
For roads?
Yes.
Our budget as Rakai district is 500 million a year to construct roads, which
using only a grader.
Using only the grader. Yet the people expect maram on the roads. They expect and even covering, raising swamps with this. It's called.
So to sum up, the unit is not facilitated well.
No, the unit is not there. We have a grader. People. Mama, we have a grader.
But not the unit.
But not a unit.
Okay, thank you,
so that should be cancelled. It is a grader, not a unit.
Okay.
I thank you.
Thank you. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you, the Speaker. Again, okay, we have got that right, thanks to People's Parliament. Again, this decentralization. Let us assume, let us get it from this House that it was brought here to create posts for politicians and maybe civil servants, because if you get...
But not to give services to the people.
Yes, now they are giving it today that the services are not there. If the district is there, its resources cannot even facilitate 5 kilometers. Like if they said a budget of 100%, the district contributes only 5. And if you take it for infrastructure, you can find that very little kilometers of road can be worked out using those resources. Now let us, when the district council sits, if the case here is the same in Masaka, Sembabula and where, let the councils resolve that please, this decentralization you mentioned has failed, let it take another route.
Or take it back to Kampala.
If possible, let it go to the government.
Okay,
back.
thank you. You have the podium.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was Vice Chairman LC 5 when the decentralization started with the Honorable Bidan Sali.
Okay, please.
Now, there is something beautiful about decentralization. There are two issues that make it beautiful. One is that where do the people stay? Where are the people found? Are they found at the center or at the local government? People are found at the local government. There are no people at the center.
Speak to the people, please.
That is one beautiful issue. The other beauty is that that policy gives these people the power to plan, the power to raise revenue, and the power to implement the people themselves. But there is a problem on selfishness on the part of the central government. The people, the place where the people are staying is given a very little amount of money. And the center, where there are no people, a lot of money is dumped over there. This is selfishness. I want to submit, Madam Speaker, what has made decentralization fail is the selfishness on the part of central government. Because they put money where people don't stay. People are here. Where the people in Kampala, I mean, is it in Entebbe? I don't even know where central government is. Yes, people are in sub-counties, people are districts, but according to the budget, we are given less than 30% of the national budget. Central government should go back to the purpose of decentralization. The portion of the national budget to be given to local government should be increased, should exceed, in fact, more than 50% of the national budget should come back to the local government. Selfishness.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker and the August House. One other challenge that we've gotten out the centralization and infrastructure is bureaucracy. There are high levels of bureaucracy. I can cite an example of when the bridge of Kochi County broke during the heavy rains. It took us almost 5 months to repair the road because of the flow of funds for the road to be repaired. So there is that challenge that problems are not solved in the right time, and then there is a lot of money spent on issues that are already solved. So the other thing is that we have a challenge of imparting services to people. For example, Rakai district has a bad terrain and a bad water base that is, it has high levels of alkalinity, and they brought in boreholes that really can't take us for even 5 years. And that was money spent. So they didn't come and ask and make enough research that what can we do for you to solve the water shortages that you have. So I think that is not really working out. They should design another policy to help Ugandans have a better service delivery. Thank you.
In your opinion, do you think graduate tax should be restored?
Madam Speaker, graduate tax per se might not come back. Not come back, but as a country, we must look at the needs of our people. And we must make sure that our people contribute to their own development.
Okay.
Why do we rely on donor money? The donors pay taxes in their countries and bring it to us. Why can't we sit down?
Now, if it was creating revenue for our district, why do you think it shouldn't be restored?
We need to have it modified and agreed to by central government.
What do you say the people of Rakai?
Honorable Speaker, 100% no. The instance of removing graduated tax was, a lot of money was used for levying that tax. Yet the impact of it was negative. That's why the graduated tax was washed away. We only need to do one thing, As the pre-current speaker was saying, we only need to look at the central government on the allocation of resources.
Is therefore no need for creation of more districts since decentralization has not realized its
Honorable Speaker, there is no reason why you create more, yet even these that we have are failed to be sustained.
What do you have to say about the districts, ma'am?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. To me, I was even thinking of regionalizing. Yes, the governance of the people, because these local governments are totally failing. The center is failing to finance these local governments. And at the same time, even the issue of graduated tax, I think people should be aware that these days they even pay far much more money in terms of taxes than the money they used to pay initially, because they've put a lot of taxes on each and everything that is being used.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Member. The people of Rakai, since the creation of, do you think there should be creation of more districts? Because it is meant to bring services near to the people, and now the services near to the people are no longer there. Yes, what do you have to say, please?
Thank you, Madam. If decentralization has failed, why can't they try further? That is my opinion.
Thank you. Please. You have the podium, please.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. I also don't believe in creating more districts in Uganda, simply because of dissatisfaction of the service delivery in the districts you have had so far. Because if you had, take an instance, if it was a family, you were a father, you have like 4 children, and you are failing to sustain them, paying them for school fees and whatever. And now you are urging to produce more children. Does it work? Is it practical and realistic? Actually, you don't need more districts. We just need to consolidate what we have and maybe facilitate them more.
Thank you. What is your opinion, Honorable Member?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For me, I may not agree with some speakers here, due to the fact that we still have what you call hard-to-reach areas. For example, we can look at Rakai. There are some sub-counties like Kachela, talk of Kiziba. Some of these sub-counties have not benefited like the sub-counties which are near to the district. So if we are saying that we can get more constituencies, why not other districts? To make people benefit more near to the districts.
Even if Chiziba is far, Nangoma is far, but what we need is money to sustain our what? Our budgets. What we need, what we see that the central government shouldn't be more selfish. We just need more money to come near to us, and then we feed. Initially, the system was even feeding the administrative units like this, the LC4 and the villages. What we need is to practice the real policy. Otherwise, it was the best policy.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Yes, young man, you have the podium.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. The infrastructure development is still very poor because even the little money we have is not utilized.
Yes, which information do you want to give? Please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to inform the pre-current speaker that the resources they were talking about are very meager resources that cannot sustainably do what we're supposed to do for the entire district. So the resources are there, but they are meager resources. And they are, you know, we have to allocate resources where demand is. And so you may find we are doing a road, for instance, of 20 kilometers with a district budget, and we're using like 40 million. And with central government road, the same 40 kilometers, they're using over 1 billion shillings. Then we wonder, how does the district use 40 and the other is using 1 billion? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Go ahead, young man.
That one, I was still enlightening you. That before we ourselves, we start blaming one another, that the funds are very few. You've been talking about mega funds. Which mega funds are you talking about? Because the little funds you have, they are the funds you have used well for anything you could basically do. It's not the government in the central that is going to develop you. Development starts from you, not any other person. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I disagree with forming new districts, but I still have a solution for us to better our service delivery. I think government should introduce working on contracts I give an example. If you're the chairman, District Service Commission, and you have worked for over 20 years, you'll in the process be corrupt, and you'll be defending your subjects because they know how you do your thing. So if government can come up with contracts, maybe you work for 5 years, they see what work you have done. If you've not hit your target, if you're not hitting your target, they remove you and put some other. Maybe that is how we can improve our districts. But forming new districts won't work out.
Okay, thank you. I think you have heard for yourselves. Let's go for a short break. And when we come back, we are going to look at the way forward of how districts can create their own revenue for infrastructure development. Welcome back. You are still watching NTV People's Parliament, sitting here in Rakai District in Chotera County, discussing decentralization and infrastructure development. What can we do to create our own revenue to ensure that we develop our districts?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
In just 2 minutes.
August House. One thing I think we can do is to make sure we have household income and sensitize people on commercial farming, modern agriculture, and living on subsistence farming. And then thereafter, after achieving that, we should look for market for our products. I think through that we can raise enough income to develop our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Please have the podium. Another one, take up here.
Thank you, Madam. After abolishing corruption and embezzlement of government funds, we have our income, local service tax. There is market dues, license, and storage tax. I think that
where does that money go?
Help.
Where does that money go?
I don't, the chairperson has been there. The honorable councillors are answerable for that.
Where is the councillor? Where does the local service tax and please give us information. We are looking for ways of creating our own revenue.
Honorable Speaker, much is going to be talked about. Where does such a kind of money go? It is when we talked about the percentage of local revenue, the contribution of local revenue into the district budget is only 5%. If the district has, say, a budget in a financial year of around 36 billion, then it is only 5% collection of that. Because say like people who do produce here in Rakai, you are not supposed to tax someone producing, Someone is selling his beans, you are not supposed to produce. Because they'll tell you this is an internal market and someone is selling within. So you sell and get your money. Okay. So that money goes into individual pockets.
Thank you.
Provide the policy changes, then we can tax the local people and we get the money hikes.
Thank you. Yes, the people of Rakai, how can central government help us to get our own revenue, please?
The way the government can help is to make sure that it puts their platform for these local people to be able to earn something. Once these people are able to get something to sustain themselves and at least to pay something into the government's pool, then it is possible to get revenue and to facilitate that work. But before that, I was saying that most roads can be done using hands once the people at the grassroots are mobilized, because they are the first beneficiaries of those roads.
Have you heard the district leadership? The people of Rakai are very ready to help themselves. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
All the funds which are being taken to the center for purposes of development infrastructure at the grassroots should be transferred to local governments. Local governments should be given that mandate to manage their own budgets in as far as developing their affairs is concerned. Because now, if I give you a scenario of like Cheweka Sensor Road, and there was a certain project which was being constructed by the center, but our engineer was not given that opportunity to monitor, that left all the money being swindled by those people from there, and the local government here has no say over that. Even that road itself, you can realize that it was being given like 1.5 billion for its construction, but in actual sense, you can't even see 500 million on that road. Within a period of only 3 months, the road was already spoiled.
Can the local authorities meet all the challenges? If no, then of course the government has to take over.
Are they not taking on the challenges?
The answer is no.
Of course.
However, I just want to put it right, that the government already realized this. There is a need to improve on the economy of Ugandans. For instance, the government is now sending in the seedlings, coffee seedlings, fruit seedlings. They are even sending in some, cows for the household to rear, such that they can improve on their economy, the so-called households. But give us just 3 to 4 years. The economy here will stabilize, and we shall not be with any problems.
In Rakai district.
If the economy has not stabilized yet, then it means the government remains necessary for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
For me, what I have observed from our local leaders, previously we had routine maintenance which was done by local people, whereby since our money is being given out in quarters, we can budget for about 20 kilometers of road, whereby they just divide it by 4 to serve the quarter. But when you carry out bush clearing at a stage, that is the first quarter, in the next quarter, you found out that the excavated road or kilometers that you excavated previous, again, bush is still there.
You are not doing your job, councillors.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. He mentioned his title as assistant engineer, yes. And he's the best person who is reliably seated in the office for planning. So yes. If you actually get to know how much money you plan before you pass the budgets, how come that we then find that those same people you budget for clearing the roads as for routine maintenance, giving us alarms that we are giving little money for them to slash and maintain the roads?
Yeah. You have opened the RBC?
Madam Speaker, I would like to supplement to the submissions of the engineer. I want to appeal to honourable members present in this parliament and inform you that it's incumbent upon us all to make this nation develop in infrastructure and everything. What he's talking about is true, because despite the fact that the central has its weaknesses, but also the local government has got its own weaknesses. I've been monitoring these things.
Okay.
Sometimes money is remitted to the local government.
Have you heard Mr.
Engineer? Yes. This engineer, we find it a constraint to implement what he has been given. The certain position would like.
For me, I would come with a view that like Laka geographically, we are created Lake. We've got Mutukula, we've got Lake Victoria. But to my dismay, we don't know what we are benefiting from the government. They are collecting our fish from Lake Victoria, taking them to Kampala, from Kampala to Japan and China. They are collecting taxi from Mutukula, dismantling our road, nothing we are getting. For me, I would say that with this tendency of Uganda Revenue Authority, let it be on the grassroots at the district level, whereby whenever they collect taxi, then the district comes in to see and share. Why is it that we are sharing with Zimbabwe?
It's incumbent upon the nationals to make their country develop or not. Because when you talk about the government, it is not them seven there, it's not them peace there, it's from the grassroots, from the family. We are trying to make sure that household income is raised so that the national revenue is realized. Let me inform you, in 1986-85, the national budget was funded by the donors. Currently, believe me or not, currently, the government is giving over 80%, which is a step forward. So we believe by sensitizing our people, by people becoming patriotic to their nation, paying allegiance to their state, the nation will develop. I beg to move.
I have my expert to give us a way forward on should the Local Government Act be amended, because it's according to the act that the government give revenue, the presents back to the districts. What do you think should be done to allow these districts get more money for infrastructure development and other things.
Madam Speaker, government moves Madam Speaker, government moves by policies and laws. Certainly, if we have to change the course of development, these laws and policies must be amended to suit the prevailing circumstances. And I must say that much as we are receiving inputs to create wealth, there should be more and more deliberate investment by government in infrastructure to attract people, local people, to invest in the local economy. What am I saying? I'm saying we should have industrial zones gazetted every district where government can come, demarcate the plots, put in power, put in water, and then people come use their own money to develop the areas. Government must be seen to be leading economic investment of the local people.
Thank you, Honourable Member. That's a very good way forward. I think you have heard the people of Rakai speak. It's not only happening in Rakai, but the entire country. These local governments are not getting enough money for infrastructure development. What can be done, members of parliament, the lawmakers? Should you amend the Local Government Act to allow these people to get more money? The ball is in your court. I am still Agnes Nandutu, the Speaker of People's Parliament. Until next time, I adjourn this House.
The views expressed on this show do not represent those of NTV or its staff.